Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 156 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Pasquale Veri.
And I am Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone. Born in Germany, our guest tonight is a huge Kiss fan who has a very interesting connection to Canada. We also had the chance to meet our dear friend in person when attending the shows at Madison Square Garden in New York back in December last year. With a fascinating story, Stefan has become one of the very well-known Kiss fans around the world due to the release of his brand new book, The Best Kiss of My Life. Here you go, buddy. Which tells the story, actually, of 30 fans from 16 different countries, all of them very emotional and unique. Kiss Army, we welcome to the show our dear friend and longtime Kiss fan, Stefan Frommann. Welcome to the show, Steph.
Good morning to Canada from Berlin. It's such an honor being in your show. I love it. Thanks for having me.
Steph, I want to start by saying, congratulations on your new book, The Best Kiss of My Life.
Thank you.
It looks fantastic, and I can't wait to start reading it. There's so many amazing stories about so many amazing Kiss fans, including our very own Claudio Spera.
There you go. Thank you.
So this book is about Kiss fans. This episode, my friend, is about you. So let's get to know you a little bit better. And let's start with the following question. How did you become aware of Kiss?
Well, it was in 1976, and it happened very quickly. I heard a song on the radio that totally flashed me. And, my problem was that I only started learning English at school when I was 12. Up until then, English was something like a language in Cirque du Soleil, like a fantasy language to me.
Right.
So when the guy on the radio said the song title, I wrote it down phonetically and handed it to the man in the store. Sometimes I sang the song for him, of course, in my fantasy language. So the salesman had a lot of fun with me, but I got my record. So in this case, I got shouted out loud. I told Gene that once, and he immediately wanted to write shouted out loud phonetically in German. But that was funny too. And I still have it here. This is the result. That's an original Simmons. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, yeah, we can see that.
This is Gene saying, Schrei es laut heraus. That's shouted out loud in German. And this is my shouted out loud, of course, in one word.
Very cool. Very cool.
So you go to the record store and you show the guy, the paper with kind of how phonetically you thought, and you got a single. So what did you have at that time?
I started with a single.
So speaking of which, it's interesting. It's talking to fans from around the world. We're always curious to know what the scene was like at the time. So in Berlin during those times, was there an established rock scene? And how was Kiss a part of that rock scene?
Oh, I'm honest to you, we were listening a lot of Deep Purple, Uriah Heep, Led Zeppelin, like this. And then there was Kiss, and all of a sudden, nothing else mattered, at least to me.
So, but you were listening to all of those other bands, or of course, you were captured by Kiss, but right away. But you said that you were exposed to the band in 1976, and you got the single, shouted out loud. But then what happened? So what was the first album that you got?
What happened, Claudio, was that I heard the single at least 1,000 times. And then I went back to the store and asked for the album. So I got the Destroyer album. I bought Destroyer. To me, that album was the best I've ever heard so far. Bob Ezrin did a fantastic job. I loved all songs right away, including Great Expectations.
Okay.
And it was just a fantastic record. And the cover. To me, it was the beginning of the superhero time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was indeed.
I guess I'm a little older than you, but for me, that was the beginning of the superhero time. Maybe it was for you. Love Gun or
Yeah, it was the same. So how old were you, Steph, when you got
11.
yeah, you were 11 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
And being such a, at that age, we always ask this question because Kiss gives us the opportunity to not only to listen to their music, but also to be exposed to a visual, storm with them. In your case, what captivated your attention most? Was it the image or was the music or both?
Yeah, both, I guess. It started with the music, but it happened very, very quickly that I painted my face wherever I went. I was usually the spaceman because Ace was the coolest. And a lot of my friends were Kiss fans too. We were rebels. We were something special, I guess. And all the magazines filled our love for these crazy guys week after week. And we were crazy too, I'm telling you.
So I want to fast forward to 1979, and this is when Canada got into the picture. So your uncle was living in Toronto at the time, right?
Yeah, when he was 16 already, Berlin was destroyed and young people there had no dreams. After a few years, he was running a famous a music bar called Riverboat on Yorkville. And many interesting musicians used to play there, like Johnny Mitchell, Simon Garfunkel, Gordon Lightfoot. And he and Gordon became pretty good friends. So Gordon would ask my uncle to manage him.
Oh, okay.
He did until the very end last year when Gordon died. And when I was 14, I visited my uncle in Toronto, and I was so fascinated by Yonge Street, all the stores and the feeling there. And the best was on my very first day, every second person was painted like a member of Kiss. And I thought, what the hell, Kiss? The Kiss heart is beating right here in Toronto, and I'm in the middle of it. But it was much more than this.
That's right. So you were 14 years old when you attended your first Kiss concert.
Yeah.
And that was in Toronto.
Lucky.
That's incredible.
I was very lucky. I went to the Maple Leaf Garden all by myself, and I sat quite high up to the right of the stage, so on Gene's side. So he came up to us, looked up. I thought he was just looking at me.
Yeah.
And I stood mesmerized and couldn't move for the whole concert. But when I got home, I had a new bass cap and a new shirt. And the thing is, I still have it. My first shirt from that concert in '79.
Oh, look at that.
Tiny little Stefan. How nice thin I was, eh? Isn't that cute?
Wow, it's amazing.
I can't wear it anymore, but I still have it.
That was my first Kiss concert as well. And I remember when they came out from under the stage and seeing them for the first time, those comic book heroes live in front of you. It's an experience I'll never forget. How was it for you?
The fire and the explosions and everything.
Yeah.
It was like for a young kid like us, I was standing there. I think I didn't close my mouth anymore. Like 2 hours. Unbelievable. And we didn't drink beer.
That's right, exactly. You didn't have to. So, Pask was asking you, Steph, of course, we're sharing such a special moment here with you, your first show, but what are your memories about that show? What do you recall about I don't know, what's the music? What are your memories of that show?
Oh, I'm honest to you, Claudia. I still have the ticket. I still have the shirt, but I have just a very few memories because I was so flushed. I just remember his eyes, Gene Simmons' eyes. He looked at me and it was like, I better shouldn't move anymore. That was, and I remember they playing New York Groove.
Okay.
And I remember, I think they started with I Stole Your Love and they ended up with Detroit Rock City, but I'm not sure. It could be, I think. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
No.
I remember them playing Charisma but they never played Charisma live.
No way.
No, they didn't. But in my mind, I still see Gene playing Charisma, one of my favorite Kiss songs. It never happened. So don't trust my memory of that concert.
You were dreaming.
Great. I can tell everybody I heard Charisma live 79. Great.
Yeah,
I just missed it.
exactly.
And you know, I imagine that you walking down the streets in Toronto, and as you said before, seeing all those people, you know, with their makeup on their faces, you must have thought this is Kissland, you know, before knowing that they were playing that night.
Exactly. I thought, man, Canada is the country to be.
So, Steph, we would like to explore a little bit more on your fandom over the years. So you said before you were exposed to Destroyer, you know, it blew your mind. And then did you go back in time and try to revisit all of the previous albums? And if you did so, what did you think about them?
Oh, I love them all, especially the first one. It came out in Germany years later, by the way.
Okay.
Dress to Kill is amazing too, but I think after Destroyer, they set off some really cool rockets. Like Rock and Roll Over released Hard Luck Woman, a big hit in Germany. I painted the cover on the ceiling of my room. My dad completely freaked out when he came. Then Love Gun, Just Dynamite to me. The songs are great. The cover is cult. Then Alive 2 with that endless I want you.
Yeah.
It wasn't Paul simply the best? He was the greatest to me. What a voice, what a power. For me, the years 76 and 77 were the best.
Mm-hmm.
Those 4 albums definitely changed my life, I think.
Well, like, you know, I guess for most of us, I guess we all agree that, as you said before, you know, from 76 to 78, they were at the peak, right? That was the real thing, the real Kiss. And then moving forward, what do you think of Dynasty and Masked and The Elder? That those 3 albums, they seem to fit into a very specific era, you know, for the band. In North America, it was a little bit of a decline, like Pask said many times. You know, it was the start of the start, like the beginning of the end. But in other countries, and I always mention, you know, what happened in South America and in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Dynasty and Masked, they were kind of the wake up call for fans, you know. So what do you think about those albums and what happened in Germany during those days?
Claudia, I think it started in 78 already with the 4 solo albums. I mean, I was Ace, so I was really happy with that album because it was the best one.
Mm-hmm.
All these great songs, Rip It Out, What's on Your Mind, Wiped Out, Fractured Mirror, a great album. Paul's was pretty nice too, not Love Gun anymore, but I really liked Ain't Quite Right a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Gene's solo album was, how can I put it? I'm not a big fan of the Beatles. I think that enough. Yeah. And Peter had a few ballads on the album that you could catch girls with. Very nice move. But then Dynasty came out, and somehow, to me, I mean, now that I know that your favorite song is Charisma, I don't want to say that, but to me, somehow nothing was the same anymore.
Okay.
Everyone liked Kiss. Suddenly, everyone loved Kiss. I Was Made for Loving You was embarrassing for me and my friends. And everybody jumped up and was dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow it wasn't really Kiss anymore to me. But I gotta say, it got even worse. I hope my Australian friends will forgive me, but Unmasked was really pop hardcore to me.
Okay.
To me, the low point in history.
Mhm.
I can't do anything with this album. The other was different. After that, the other was different. It was a good album, or as Bob Azrin said in the interview in my book, a very good album, but not a good Kiss album.
Mhm.
Maybe they should have called it something like a Kiss project, but not Kiss. But Unmasked to me was pop music.
Okay. And was it because of the fact that Kiss became kind of mainstream and everybody was a fan of the band at that time? It kind of lost that special thing of being like a tribe, of Kiss fans. That's what it was, or it was also the music that you didn't like?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Kiss were like a group of outlaws. That's why everybody who loved Kiss in the 70s was a rebel.
Mm-hmm.
We were something special.
Different.
And
yeah.
that was all gone. I mean, they looked so colored, and they cut their hair, and then the music. I'm not sure if there's one song on Unmasked I really like. I don't know. I don't think so.
I remember when I got Dynasty, I loved the record because I was anticipating the show. And then when I saw the show live, I liked the record even more. So after seeing your first concert, Dynasty, did you have a bigger appreciation for the album, or still did you find it was just okay?
But don't you think they played everything much faster live?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
especially in the 80s.
Different to what they did the last year. The last tour, they played I Was Made for Loving You exactly the way it is on the album.
Mhm.
But in 79, they tried to play I Was Made for Loving You as a rock song.
Yeah.
Like, and that was different. I liked I Was Made for Loving You live, but I didn't like that everybody liked it.
Right.
That's
right.
what it was.
Okay, so on the subject of the 80s, Kiss was pretty popular in Europe during the 80s. What do you think of that particular era, the Unmasked era?
I think the 80s were difficult. On one hand, Kiss made really good music again, like Creatures of the Night totally flashed me.
Mhm.
The title song is one of Kiss's strongest, and Eric Carr gave Kiss so much power. That was my Kiss again. I was so happy with the music again. Creatures of the Night, I Love It Loud, Rock and Roll Hell, War Machine.
Yeah.
Great songs. But then they decided I should be an adult at 17, and I didn't want to. They tore me out of my fantasy world. In taking off their masks.
Mm-hmm.
And that hit me hard at that time. The concert weren't as much fun anymore, and this crazy hunt for the original Kiss was over. The magic was gone a little bit, and I was disappointed. I still bought the albums. Most of them were really good, by the way, but Kiss were a band like any other. And there were some damn good bands in the 80s, like AC/DC, Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, Van Halen, Scorpions.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And they were just one of them.
Okay, so you saw a few shows in the 80s then.
Oh yeah, some.
What did you
Not
see?
a lot, but I saw some.
Okay, which concerts did you see?
The Lick It Up show, many of them.
Okay.
Some festivals for them in 85, 87. They played some big festivals in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I went there.
Did you see any Animalize show? No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and in those days, they played the songs really fast.
Oh, yeah.
It was a completely different Kiss musically.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid to ask then, jump forward to the 90s. What did you think of Revenge? Okay, and everybody's favorite, Carnival of Souls?
Everybody's favorite.
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay. Revenge is a pretty good album. I love this one. That's fantastic, really. Carnival of Souls is a misunderstanding to me. I think I've only heard it once and not again.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
But, you know, the 90s, we got to say the 90s was, thanks to Dodd McGee, the dream returned. So I was so much older, but in 96, I felt like a teenager again. And the reunification and return of the mask made me very, very happy. Psycho Circus is not a good album, but I love it. And they tried to copy Destroyer a bit, and it didn't work, but who cares? We're back, including Ace, and the shows were great again. I rediscovered my love, and it felt pretty good.
And you know, speaking of such, you know, you seem to have a very strong attachment to the original lineup, and mostly with Ace. So now that we're talking about, you know, the love and the passion that we have for the band, let's spend a little bit of time talking about the experiences, you know, meeting the members of the band. So which members of the band have you met, and under which circumstances did you enjoy those moments?
I was very lucky. I've been a sports reporter for news for a major newspaper in Germany for more than 30 years.
Oh, okay.
Aside, I always fulfilled a wish and met a rock star for an interview. Like Rob Halford, Tony Iommi, Jonathan Davis, Joe Elliott. And of course, I also tried my hand at Kiss. And in 2017, took a while. In 2017, I met Gene. It was a fantastic conversation. I printed part of it in my book. I hope you liked it. We had so much fun. I met Gene again in 2018 and Paul Stanley in 2019. Paul and me, we talked about his mother, who, like me, was born in Berlin but didn't dare go back to her hometown. You know, what happened to the Jews in Germany is so undescribable and so terrible. And it's hard to imagine for someone who was born 30 years later, but had always had to live with the guilt. But back to your question, meeting the two of them and not having to share with anyone was fantastic. I had them all to myself for a really long time, at least, I guess, for an hour.
Wow.
So that was something special.
Under which circumstances did you meet Gene, that you had this interview? So they were on tour in Germany, and you happened to book an interview with them. How did that happen?
Yeah, this is you asked the management for an interview, and like with Gene, I first went to Dortmund because they played there. I saw the show, and next morning for breakfast I was supposed to meet him. But he was sick, he couldn't speak, they said. So they canceled the interview. I went back home to Berlin. A week later, they were in Munich, and they said, oh, we're going to do that in Munich. I went to Munich, and this is where I met him the first time. And I met him at the Metal Hammer, which is a magazine in Germany, for a second time. And Paul in Toronto, in Canada. I could pick out any North American show, and I said, of course, Toronto. I want to go there again. And he was very, very nice. We had tea together.
Okay.
Wow. Drinking tea. That was like 4 o'clock, the same day before the show. And we had tea and we were talking.
And you were doing these interviews for a magazine, or just,
yes.
Yeah, that's what you were doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And who did you find more interesting to talk to, Gene or Paul?
Paul and I think, had the more in-depth conversation.
Okay.
You know, about his mother, his difficult youth in New York, his paintings. With Gene, I talked about Kiss. We talked about him. He loves talking about him. And we talked about me as a fan. He's not a person of great emotions, but he knows how to arouse them in others. So I think, to me, Gene is my daddy Kiss. And I got something very special from him. I'll show you. This shirt is from his, you see the date, from his 60th birthday. Everybody who came to his 60th birthday, who was invited, had this shirt.
Oh,
Wow,
look at that.
cool.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
Wow.
Very cool. So I want to talk about this baby right here. So we mentioned this book in the intro. You released The Best Kiss of My Life, which is truly proof and evidence of your love and passion for the band. So when and why did you start this project?
I often traveled through Europe with Kiss and saw maybe like 10 or 12 shows in a row. And when I came back, I told my friends about it. And once one of them said, "Can't you write that down? I would love to read it as a book." So when I started it, I thought about some of the fans I met on the road. And I was also on the first Kiss cruise. And I thought, I'm just a tiny little glowworm in that huge Kiss cosmos. So there are so many other fans whose kisseries are worth telling. So I started looking for the best ones.
And what were some of the challenges you faced when writing this book?
The biggest challenge is here in your show, I guess I'm your number 156.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
156, which is fantastic. But unfortunately, my book wasn't allowed to be that big. So I picked out 29 out of 200 or so I contacted.
Wow. Okay.
Some never replied. Some were simply too busy. Some of their stories were already taken by someone else. I also noticed that people born in the 60s had very similar stories. But the special thing about Kiss is that a new generation has always followed. So some only became fans through Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Some, when Kiss put the mask back on, I wanted them all in the book. And now the fans in it are between 16 and 16. Isn't that great?
That's amazing. And every story in this book is unique.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah, it is.
I just wanted to go deeper a little bit of on the last question from Pask. So you were mentioning that out of 200, you had to select, 29. Okay, those 200 that they were your first, let's say, attempt to contact, some of the fans. What was the criteria to select those 200 fans? People that maybe you met in person during the shows, maybe people that you met in the cruise, or mostly Europe. You were trying to cover different continents. What was the criteria, Steph?
Yeah. Everything you just counted. People I knew, like from the cruise or from the road. People who knew through others, they said, "Oh, you got to call him, or you got to write them." People I found in different Facebook groups, Kiss groups.
Okay.
They have their stories in there, and yeah, that's the way I did it.
Speaking of again, this show, my friend, is for you. So we want to explore more on your beautiful book. 30 fans from 16 different countries. Okay, and I was really fortunate to be one of them. I just wanna take this show just to thank you, for letting me be part of that. And just let me ask you, who was the first fan that you found to write about in your book?
I do remember pretty well, because the very first person I discovered and approached was Alan Farney from Switzerland.
Okay.
because I remember saying to my wife, "You are so lucky. This guy just turned his whole home into a Kiss museum." And she was just laughing. But hey, we all know that out there are so many incredible collectors.
Oh yeah.
It's, but Alan that was unbelievable to me.
Okay.
So he was the first one I contacted. And it wasn't easy because he doesn't speak English. He speaks only French. I don't speak any French. So it was the same like with people in Japan. They usually don't speak English. So I have a translation program and I wrote in Japanese to them. I don't know if it was right, but it worked.
And one of the coming back to the criteria to select people, so it was not that you wanted to have people that you met before, because in the case of Alain, had you met him before? No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Just his history was more important than if I knew him.
Okay. And Steph, amongst
we didn't know before.
Yeah, it's true. That's
and
true.
I was crossing my fingers for Argentina for the work. And
yeah.
I do remember. Germany was out there already.
It's true.
And you were completely crazy.
Yeah, it's true. We are all crazy, man. Let me tell you. Hey, Steph, amongst all the amazing stories that you can find in this book, which one is your personal favorite? I know that's a tough question because they are all amazing, but do you have a favorite?
Oh, that's really pretty hard to say. I think Michael Berger, Gene's Guitar Tech, has a very unusual story for a fan, but so do you, Claudio. Growing up in Argentina, they didn't allow that kind of music at that time. Was something special. Or Sultan Bari, who had a very similar experience in Hungary, and today he sings as Paul Stanley in Europe's best tribute band, Kiss Forever. Or think about the couple Brett and Donna from Australia, who owe their love to a letter from Eric Carr. What a great story. And of course, little Terry Anna and her strong mom, Jackie. Maybe this is my favorite story. 1.5 parts that boom so loudly for Kiss. I really can't tell. I love all the stories. Tell me, what's your favorite?
I think I agree with you. I think Michael Berger's it's a very interesting one, but I also love the fact that you included the stuff with Bob Ethrin, the stuff with Gene Simmons, and I really loved your story. And I was thinking as I was reading your story, how did you do it? Just not to extend your story even further, because you had to fit all the other 29 stories in your book. But I felt some connection because of I have to say, my two different lives, my Argentinian life and my Canadian life. I found your stuff so fascinating because, there's some strong connection with Canada too, because of your love of your love with Kiss. And then, speaking of similarities, there's a story from someone from Venezuela, actually, that it's also because of the political landscape. They were experiencing the same issues that we were experiencing in Argentina, where because of the government, you were not exposed to as many Kiss things as Pasquale, for example, in Canada, right? So he was exposed to everything, in the 76 and on TV, and Kiss Meets the Phantom and the shows in 79 that we didn't have. But so that's, I think that gives the book a flavor that it's quite unique, as Pascal was saying before.
In my chapter, I was trying to go a little how do you say
chronological?
Yeah, chronological through the history. so that people who are not as big Kiss fans as we three are, they can read the book after my chapter, and they understand Claudio better than just reading him.
Yeah.
That we have the history told.
Yeah.
That's why it's a little longer than the others.
No, what I love about a book like this is that it talks about fans from around the world, people of different cultures. And it shows that regardless of where we come from, regardless of our ethnicity, nationality, or our religious beliefs, we're all the same. And in this case, we have an amazing thing in common, Kiss. And our stories are so diverse, and we're learning a lot about each other as human beings. I think that is fantastic, especially for me, an ethics teacher. This book is incredible in that sense.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. You're so right.
And, you know, I believe, Pascal, I know that, you know, you're going to agree with me. We try to find ways to express our passion and love for the band. And some people, you know, in our case, we choose to run a podcast and have people from as many countries as possible. We have discussion panels, we have interviews, we have special episodes. But in your case, that shows that this could take any way or form. You know, you came up with the book, and at the same time, there's podcasts, and then there's some people who make tribute bands, you know, and they kind of put out music and they make shows. So it's I think this is a proof that it doesn't matter if Kiss will not play live anymore. This love will continue, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let me ask you, Steph, are you happy with the reception that the book is having in the Kiss community?
To me, the best of all was that every fan I had contact with felt so close. Right away, like a family member that I had been looking for a long time, so familiar. And so it wasn't me writing this book, actually, it was my heart doing it. And now that it's finished, you won't believe how many fans writing me after reading the book, and there are so many ready for volume 2. That is the greatest compliment you can pay me, actually. And the only thing I wish for now, because it hasn't happened yet, Amazon has problems with the US market, and you can order the book worldwide on Amazon now, except in the US. So I can only ask my American friends, please order it in Canada or Mexico. Yeah. I'm really sorry about this, and I hope Amazon will fix that one day, but that's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, do you know what the issue is? Why people cannot? They didn't put it up on .com.
Yeah, they just didn't put it up in the US, on all markets, everywhere, all over Europe, everywhere, in Japan, in Australia, Canada, Mexico, but not in the USA.
Okay.
But I noticed even on Amazon Canada, when you do a search for the book, you get the German edition. I can't find the English. Do another search another day, and there's the English. It seems to go back and forth.
Yeah, maybe you should buy both.
Exactly. There you go.
Are you a collector or not?
Oh, I'm definitely a collector. I'm definitely a collector.
That's a good one. I love it.
Okay, I'm ordering right after the show. He thinks I'm joking. So, Steph, we're coming close to the end of the show, and you know it's really clear that you created so many memories thanks to the band. So, what are some of your most memorable moments in your life as a Kiss fan?
Of course, the meetings with Gene and Paul. Yeah. The song we made with Gene on December 4th, I was in the Electric Ladies.
Nice.
Oh, that you have to tell us about.
Yeah. They let me sing only in the chorus, no singer voice.
Okay.
All the traveling around with Kiss was fantastic. Great cities. I was in like Amsterdam, Prague, London, Glasgow. You know, Glasgow, the last European stop. Have you ever been to Scotland?
I
so
wish.
Young, so fresh, so musical. The Kiss cruise, of course. And a very special, and one thing is that was a very special day. My uncle took me to his good buddy Bob Ezrin's, and he gave me the original record of the Yellow. A very unique memory that hangs on my wall here, over there. The records are there, signed by Bob, Gene, and Paul. And I just have the package here. That was where the records were in.
Oh, wow.
And you see here, Bob wrote to Stefan, from your friend in Canada, Bob Ezrin. That was in 85 already. And then Gene, 2017. And finally, Paul, to Stefan, my new friend, Paul Stanley.
Very
so you
cool.
see how deep the conversation was with him.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote, my new friend. It was very nice.
Very cool. And Steph, you may have a different perception about this because of your book. Why do you believe the KISS Army is so special?
Oh, I think I've already answered this question, because we are a family.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are two brothers. That's pretty easy.
Steph, I wanted to just, before getting to the final question, I wanted to just touch on something that we didn't cover. How long did it take you to come up with the book?
18 months.
Wow.
18 months? Okay.
18 months.
Okay.
It really took a while. Because I had to add, I wrote the stories, then I sent them and asked the people if this is the way they find. You remember that. It took a while.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It took a while. Then the pictures and checking all the rights for the pictures. That really took a while.
Mm.
So volume 2 is coming up?
I'm not sure. 18 months was a lot, really. I'm not sure. And I think it depends if they making like a black zero or a red zero.
Okay.
Like the publisher, what they make with it.
Right, right.
I'm not sure.
You know, the reason why I ask you about volume 2 is that, you know, we KISS fans, we try to find a way to keep the KISS flame alive. You know, now that the band is not touring anymore, we find different ways to keep ourselves in the KISS world. What is your way? What will you do to keep the flame alive now that the band is not touring anymore?
Claudio, I'm telling you, if I want a seat in a time machine, I'd give it to the boys right away so they could keep going on touring. And we could still looking up at Gene when we were 80 and he's singing God of Thunder for us under the roof. That would be nice. But yeah, this summer I'm seeing Gene a few times with his Gene Simmons band. Mm-hmm. The songs are the same. The show is very different. I'm curious to see what it's like. Mm-hmm. It's one of my tickets already.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's in Germany that you're going to go?
Yeah, I'll be in Wacken and in Oberhausen and one show in Holland.
Okay.
And yeah, and keeping the flame. I'm so grateful to you guys for doing something like this podcast. And maybe a little bit my book will keep the flame alive, I think. And that's pretty important because to me, when I'm feeling down, I just need to listen to Shout It Out Loud and I'm fine.
That's where you go. It goes back to when you were a kid. That's right.
Yeah. No, Steph, it's been fantastic having you on the show. And, you know, it's obvious that you couldn't get every single KISS fan that would want to be in this book. But in a sense, reading the book, this book is about all of us. We see a lot of ourselves in the stories of other KISS fans.
Absolutely.
And I'll say it again, this book brings fans together. It brings people together from around the world. And my friend, you did that. More people should work on bringing people together rather than dividing. People like you create bridges that bring us together. And that is what this amazing book is doing. Bringing people together.
Thank you
I
very much.
think that
Really,
is
an
amazing, it's an amazing feat that you accomplished. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for this book. Thank you so much for coming on the show and, you know, telling us about your amazing experiences, your amazing life, your history. And again, we all see ourselves in your stories. It's just incredible.
Thank you very much. The thing is, we are all family.
Absolutely.
That's right. You know, that's a great definition. And you know what? I cannot add anything else to what Pask said. You know, these are the perfect words, man. So what he picked, and this is how we feel. And I'm happy, Pask, that you expressed it in a very articulate way and beautifully said. You know, and all I can say, Steph, it's been a true pleasure, man, to follow the process with you, being in the book and making new friends, making new brothers now, you know, growing the family. It was great to see you in New York. You know, we had a blast there. And hey, I cannot wait to, you know, just to cross paths, you know, either in Europe or in Canada. If you're ever in Canada, man, please reach out to us and we'll meet and we'll have fun. So thank you so much for your time.
I will.
And you know, it's been a true pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And by the way, my favorite story in this book is yours, Claudio, my brother. Yours
Thank you,
is my
my friend.
favorite story.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. You're so cool.
To the KISS Army, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please send them to talktomee@kissarmynationpodcast.com. Until the next time, remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on Podomatic, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. This is about you, so please like and subscribe to support the amazing guests we have on the show. See you soon, KISS Army.